4 years of my life. 4 years of building memories, planning a future, and thinking I had found the one. Amanda was everything I wanted in a partner. We had the perfect engagement, the perfect house, and in 2 weeks we would have had the perfect wedding. But life has a way of revealing cruel truths when you least expect them. During what should have been a normal family dinner, Amanda suddenly got sick. As my mother joked about morning sickness, I noticed my brother Jason looking terrified. That night, I discovered my fiancée was 8 weeks pregnant with my brother's child. Before I tell you about the nightmare that destroyed my life, let me know where you are listening from, and hit subscribe so you do not miss more heartbreaking true stories of family betrayal. I met Amanda at a tech conference in Boston 4 years ago. I was 32, established in my engineering career, and ready to settle down. She was presenting research on sustainable materials, and I was immediately drawn to her intelligence and passion. We exchanged business cards, and within a week, we were having dinner at my favorite Italian restaurant downtown. Our relationship moved quickly, but felt right at every step. 6 months in, we were practically living together. After a year, I proposed during a weekend trip to Maine. She cried when I pulled out the ring on that cliff overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. The sunset painted the sky orange and pink as she said yes. I still remember how the wind tousled her dark brown hair and how her green eyes sparkled with tears of joy. My family welcomed Amanda with open arms. My parents treated her like the daughter they never had. My brother Jason, 2 years older than me, seemed particularly fond of her. They bonded over their shared love of classic movies and hiking. I was happy they got along so well. Family meant everything to me, and seeing Amanda fit in so naturally felt like confirmation I had chosen the right person. We bought our first house together last year, a beautiful 3-bedroom colonial with a large backyard in a quiet neighborhood. I spent weekends painting walls and fixing up the nursery, already dreaming of the family we would start after the wedding. Amanda chose all the colors and furniture, turning the house into our home. We talked about having 2 kids, maybe 3, and getting a dog once we were settled. Our wedding plans were extravagant but meaningful. We booked the Riverside Gardens venue a year in advance. Amanda found her dream dress, a vintage-inspired lace gown that made her look like a Hollywood star from the golden era. The guest list included 160 people, from college friends to distant relatives flying in from California. Jason was supposed to be my best man, though he seemed hesitant when I asked him. I assumed it was because public speaking made him nervous. The wedding was just 2 weeks away when everything fell apart. We had already received most of the RSVPs, finalized the menu with the caterer, and confirmed the honeymoon reservations in Bali. Everything was perfect, or so I thought. Looking back, there were signs I chose to ignore. Amanda had become increasingly secretive with her phone. She changed her password and always kept it face down. There were nights she claimed to be having drinks with coworkers, but would come home smelling like the cologne Jason wore. I dismissed my suspicions, telling myself I was being paranoid. Jason started acting strange too. He would make excuses not to hang out when Amanda would be present. He backed out of being my best man, claiming he had work commitments he could not reschedule. When we were together, he seemed distant, unable to look me in the eye for more than a few seconds. I attributed his behavior to stress from his recent promotion. Family gatherings became tense. I noticed Jason and Amanda avoiding each other in obvious ways. If she was in the kitchen, he would stay in the living room. If he was helping Dad with the grill, she would remain inside with Mom. Again, I convinced myself it was nothing. 2 months before the wedding, I traveled to Germany for a 2-week business trip. Amanda seemed almost relieved when I left, saying she could focus on wedding details without distraction. During my time away, our phone calls became shorter and less frequent. She claimed wedding stress was keeping her busy. I believed her. After returning, I discovered she had lied about several evenings when she claimed to be meeting her bridesmaids. Her maid of honor, Julie, mentioned they had not met up in weeks when I ran into her at the grocery store. Still, I pushed my doubts aside. I loved Amanda too much to believe she would betray me. The truth revealed itself during a family dinner my mother organized to discuss final wedding details. Mom made her famous pot roast and apple pie, wanting everything to be special. My father opened his expensive whiskey, saving a toast for the end of the meal. Jason arrived late, looking disheveled and avoiding eye contact. Halfway through dinner, as Mom discussed seating arrangements, Amanda suddenly turned pale. She covered her mouth and rushed to the bathroom. We could hear her retching violently. When she returned, my mother joked, "Not morning sickness already. I hope save that for after the honeymoon." I laughed along with everyone else, but then I saw Jason. His face had drained of color. His hand trembled as he reached for his water glass, spilling it across the table. The look that passed between him and Amanda lasted only a second, but it contained an unmistakable intimacy and terror. "What is going on between you two?" I asked, my voice steady despite my racing heart. The silence that followed was deafening. My parents looked confused. Amanda stared at her plate, tears forming in her eyes. Jason opened his mouth, closed it, then opened it again. "Roy, I need to tell you something," he finally said. "Something terrible." Then it all came pouring out. While I was in Germany, Amanda and Jason had been sleeping together. Not just once in a drunken mistake, but multiple times. What began as innocent flirtation months ago had escalated into a full-blown affair, and now Amanda was pregnant with his child. I do not remember much of what happened next. I know I stood up so quickly my chair crashed to the floor. I know I screamed until my throat was raw. I remember sweeping dishes off the table, watching them shatter against the wall. I remember my father restraining me as I lunged toward Jason, who cowered behind our mother. 8 weeks, Amanda kept repeating through her tears. I am 8 weeks pregnant. The timing aligned perfectly with my business trip to Germany. While I was working 16-hour days to secure our financial future, they were betraying me in what was supposed to be our home. It was a mistake. Jason pleaded, his voice trembling. We were drunk the first time. It should never have happened. The first time I spat back. "How many times did you sleep with my fiancé, Jason?" He could not meet my eyes. A few times he mumbled. Amanda fell to her knees, grabbing at my legs as I tried to leave. "I still love you, Roy," she sobbed. "We can work through this." My mother, still in shock, tried to intervene. "Please, everyone, calm down. We are family. We can figure this out together." I turned to her in disbelief. "Figure what out?" That my brother impregnated my fiancée 2 weeks before our wedding. Even my father, always the voice of reason, seemed more concerned with keeping peace than acknowledging the magnitude of the betrayal. Some people make mistakes. Terrible mistakes. But we are still family at the end of the day. I walked out that night with nothing but my wallet and car keys. I checked into a Holiday Inn downtown and lay awake until sunrise, replaying every moment of the past year, searching for clues I had missed. The next morning, I called the wedding venue to cancel. The manager was sympathetic but reminded me that the $20,000 deposit was non-refundable this close to the date. I did not care about the money. I contacted the caterer, the florist, the band, canceling everything. The hardest calls were to friends and family. "How do you tell people your wedding is off because your brother got your fiancée pregnant?" Some responded with shock and sympathy. Others seemed to think I was overreacting. My cousin Thomas even suggested I should be the bigger man and forgive them both. I took a week off work and returned to our house when I knew Amanda would be at her office. I packed her things into boxes and left them in the garage. As I sorted through her belongings, I found more evidence of their betrayal. Movie ticket stubs from nights she claimed to be working late. A birthday card from Jason with an inside joke I was not part of. Hotel receipts from a weekend I was visiting my grandmother in Florida. The final blow came when I checked our shared tablet and found text messages between them dating back 6 months. They discussed their guilt, but also their feelings for each other. In one particularly painful exchange, Amanda told Jason she had never felt this way before and was confused about the wedding. My colleagues were divided when I returned to work. Most expressed sympathy, but I overheard whispers in the break room. Some suggested I must have done something to drive Amanda away. Others questioned why I could not forgive one mistake for the sake of family. No one seemed to understand the depth of the double betrayal. I felt completely alone. The two people I trusted most had conspired behind my back for months. Every memory was now tainted. Every happy moment called into question. Had they been laughing at me all along, Had their accidental meetings been planned? Was I the only one who believed in the life we were building? Sleep became impossible. I would lie awake replaying conversations looking for hidden meanings. I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks. My boss suggested I take more time off, concerned about my ability to focus on complex engineering problems. Even worse than the betrayal was the isolation. Mutual friends started choosing sides. Some stopped returning my calls, altogether uncomfortable with the drama. My extended family reached out less frequently. It seemed easier for everyone to avoid me than to acknowledge what had happened. The house I had lovingly renovated for our future became a prison of memories. I could not walk into our bedroom without imagining them together there. The nursery I had painted pale yellow now mocked me with its emptiness. I put the house on the market, willing to take a loss just to escape. The loneliness was crushing. I would come home from work, sit in the dark, and drink until I could fall asleep. The man I saw in the mirror was a stranger, hollow-eyed and bitter. I barely recognized myself. One morning I received a text from my mother asking me to come to dinner that weekend. "We need to talk as a family," she wrote. "Please come. We love you." Against my better judgment, I agreed. Perhaps I was seeking closure, or maybe some small part of me still hoped for justice. A week after discovering the affair, I walked into my parents' house for what I thought would be a chance for everyone to apologize and for me to express my pain. Instead, I walked into an ambush. My parents, Jason and Amanda, were all seated at the dining room table when I arrived. Amanda was wearing a loose-fitting dress that partially concealed her still flat stomach. Jason sat beside her, his hand protectively on her shoulder. My mother had prepared all my favorite foods, as if pot roast and mashed potatoes could somehow heal this wound. "Roy," my father began once we were all seated, "we have asked you here because this situation affects all of us. A child is coming into this world in 7 months. Your niece or nephew." The casual way he said "your niece or nephew," as if this was a normal pregnancy announcement, made my blood boil. But I remained silent, waiting to see where this was going. My mother reached across the table and tried to take my hand. I pulled away. "Sweetheart, we know you are hurt. What Jason and Amanda did was wrong. Very wrong. But that baby is innocent. It will be your blood part of our family." "What exactly are you trying to say?" I asked, my voice dangerously calm. Jason cleared his throat. "Amanda and I have been talking. We know what we did was unforgivable, but we want to make things right." He looked at Amanda, who nodded encouragingly. "We are going to get married, Roy. For the baby." Amanda wiped a tear from her cheek. "We never meant to fall in love, Roy. It just happened. But we want you to be part of our child's life. A special part." My father leaned forward. "Son, we are asking you to find it in your heart to forgive them. For the sake of family unity. For the sake of the innocent child who will need their uncle." That was when I understood. They had not invited me here to apologize or to acknowledge my pain. They wanted my blessing. They wanted me to play happy families while they built a life together on the ruins of mine. "Let me get this straight," I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. "You want me to forgive my brother and my ex-fiancée for betraying me, attend their wedding, and then be the doting uncle to their love child. Is that what you are asking?" "We are not asking you to forget," my mother said softly. "Just to forgive. To move forward. We are all family." Something inside me snapped. For the first time in my life, I raised my voice to my parents. "Family. You think this is what family does? Betray each other, and then expect forgiveness because of shared DNA." I turned to Jason. "You were my brother, the person I trusted most in this world. You could have had anyone else, literally anyone, but you chose the one woman who was off limits. Then to Amanda, and you. I gave you everything. My trust, my love, my future. We were 2 weeks away from vows, and you could not keep yours before we even made them." Finally, I addressed my parents. "And you two. You raised us to believe that family comes first. That loyalty means something. But apparently that only applies when it is convenient. When your older son betrays your younger son, suddenly, we are all supposed to sweep it under the rug for family unity." My father's face hardened. "That is enough, Roy. You have made your point. But life is complicated, and holding on to anger only hurts you in the end. We are asking you to be the bigger person here. The bigger person, I repeated, laughing bitterly. Why is it that the person who was wronged always has to be the bigger person? Why do I have to sacrifice my dignity, my self-respect, to make everyone else comfortable? Because that is what family does, my mother insisted. We forgive each other. I looked around at their faces, searching for any real understanding of what they were asking me to do. I saw none. In that moment, I made my decision. I am selling the house, I said calmly. I have requested a transfer to our Seattle office. I am leaving in 2 weeks. The silence that followed was deafening. Then everyone started talking at once. You cannot just run away from this, my father shouted. What about the family? My mother cried. Roy, please, Amanda began, but I cut her off. I do not have a family anymore, I said, standing up. A family does not do what you all have done. Not just the betrayal, but this farce. Pretending that I am the problem because I will not smile and play along. Jason finally spoke up. Bro, please. We never meant to hurt you. That was the final straw. Fuck you, Jason. Fuck all of you. I am done. I walked out of their house that night and never looked back. The next day, I accepted the Seattle transfer. I sold the house at a 20% loss, not caring about the money. I just wanted out. I packed my car with whatever would fit and donated the rest. 2 weeks later, I was driving cross-country, heading for a new life 3,000 miles away from the wreckage of my old one. The first 6 months in Seattle were the darkest of my life. I rented a sparse one-bedroom apartment that I barely furnished. A mattress on the floor, a folding table, and a single chair were all I needed. I threw myself into work, volunteering for the most complex projects and longest hours. Anything to avoid going home to emptiness. I developed a routine. Work until exhaustion. Stop at the bar on the corner for 3 whiskeys. Neat stumble home, pass out, repeat. Weekends were worse. With no work to distract me, I would drink until the pain dulled sometimes, not leaving my apartment for the entire weekend. I ignored calls from my parents, blocked Jason and Amanda on every platform, and pushed away colleagues who tried to get to know me. Rock bottom came on what would have been my wedding day. I bought an expensive bottle of scotch and drank myself into oblivion. When I woke up, I had missed 2 days of work and had 37 missed calls. My boss showed up at my apartment concerned when I did not respond to emails or calls. He took one look at me and said, "Get help or clean out your desk." That ultimatum saved me. The next day, I found a therapist who specialized in trauma and betrayal. Dr. Winters did not offer platitudes or tell me to forgive for my own sake. Instead, she helped me process my anger, validate my feelings, and slowly rebuild my sense of self-worth. I joined a support group for people dealing with infidelity. Hearing others' stories made me feel less alone. There I met Sarah, whose husband had cheated on her with her sister. We bonded over our similar experiences of double betrayal. What began as friendship slowly evolved into something more, but we took it painfully slow, both terrified of being hurt again. I also found purpose in physical challenges. I started running first, just around the block, eventually working up to half marathons. The discipline required to train gave structure to my days. The endorphins helped combat depression. And the sense of accomplishment when I crossed each finish line reminded me I was stronger than I thought. Work became more than an escape. I channeled my energy into innovation, proposing solutions to problems that had stumped the team for months. My focus and dedication earned me a promotion to project manager. Having responsibility for others forced me to pull myself together to be the leader they deserved. After a year, I bought a condo overlooking Puget Sound. Furnishing it was therapeutic, choosing each piece deliberately, creating a space that was entirely mine, untainted by memories or betrayal. The view of the mountains across the water gave me perspective. My problems, while significant, were small against that majestic backdrop. I made new friends, people who knew me only as Roy from Seattle, not as the guy whose brother stole his fiancée. We hiked the Olympic Peninsula, kayaked in the San Juan Islands, and explored the city's food scene. Slowly, laughter returned to my life. I began to recognize myself again in the mirror. 2 years after I left, Jason and Amanda tracked me down. My colleague mentioned they were waiting in the lobby of our office building one rainy Tuesday afternoon. They had their child with them, a baby boy with Jason's eyes and Amanda's smile. My first instinct was to refuse to see them, to have security escort them out. But Dr. Winters had helped me understand that confronting my past was necessary for complete healing. I agreed to meet them at a coffee shop nearby neutral territory where I could leave if things became too difficult. "You look good, Roy," Amanda said when I sat down across from them. The baby slept peacefully in a carrier between them. "What do you want?" I asked. Not unkindly, but directly. Jason shifted uncomfortably. "Mom and Dad miss you. They talk about you all the time. We thought maybe enough time had passed that you might consider coming home for a visit." I studied them, searching for the pain they had once caused me. Surprisingly, I felt nothing but a distant sadness, like recalling a movie I had seen long ago rather than events that had happened to me. "This is my home now," I said simply. "But your family," Amanda began. "I have family here too," I interrupted. "Friends who have never betrayed me. A girlfriend who understands loyalty. Colleagues who respect me." Jason looked down at his sleeping son. "We named him Robert after Grandpa. We wanted you to meet him. He should know his uncle." For the first time, I really looked at the child. He was innocent in all this, as my mother had pointed out years ago. But that did not mean I had to sacrifice my peace to be in his life. "I wish Robert a wonderful life," I said sincerely. "But I am not coming back. Not for visits, not for holidays, not for family reunions. I have built something good here, something honest. I will not risk that for people who showed me how little my feelings mattered when it counted." Amanda wiped away a tear. "We are truly sorry, Roy. We were selfish and cruel." "I know," I replied, "and I no longer hate either of you for it. That is the best I can offer." When they asked me to tell my parents something, I thought carefully, before responding. "Tell them I am happier than I have ever been. Tell them I found peace, by leaving, not by staying. Tell them sometimes the healthiest thing a person can do is walk away from toxic relationships, even when those relationships are with family." They left Seattle that evening. I watched them go without regret or anger. The meeting confirmed what I already knew: I had made the right choice in leaving. Sometimes forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. Sometimes it just means letting go of the past enough to build a better future. Today, Sarah and I live together in that condo overlooking the Sound. She understands my hesitation about marriage, though we have discussed it for the future. My career continues to flourish. I have friends who know my whole story and love me anyway. I still get occasional calls from my parents, which I sometimes answer. Our conversations are brief and superficial. They have visited once, staying in a hotel and meeting Sarah for dinner. It was cordial, but distant. I prefer it that way. Some wounds heal but leave scars that change how we move through the world. The greatest lesson I learned from this ordeal is that family is not just about blood. Family is about respect, trust, and mutual care. Sometimes the family we choose is more reliable than the one we are born into. And sometimes the bravest thing we can do is walk away from people who hurt us, even when society tells us we should forgive, simply because they are related to us. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have forgiven your brother and ex-fiancé for their betrayal? Do you believe blood family should always come first? Or do you think some betrayals cross a line that cannot be uncrossed? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe to hear more real-life stories of survival and personal growth. Thank you for listening to my journey. And remember, sometimes walking away is not giving up. It is simply choosing a different path forward.